Physiology is the study of functioning of organs and organ systems. All physiological activities are aimed at homeostasis, living, and reproduction. Homeostasis differentiates a living being from the non-living world. It provides the uniqueness for a self-duplicating genomicized groups of organisms. Homeostatic mechanisms involve stabilizing an optimum level of water, minerals, and other components of the body fluids, and other thermal regulations. It is achieved by several biophysical, biochemical processes, hormonal secretions, and related metabolic modifications. The phenomenon of living is made possible due to several types of evolved organs and their well coordinated functions. The functioning of heart as a pumping organ controlled is astonishing. The oxygen association and dissociation capabilities of blood pigments, cascading effects of minimal amount of hormones at molecular limits, the process of nervous conduction, analyzing and memory maintaining capacities of the brain, take visual perception of the eye, all wonderful inventions of nature towards a simple process of living. The attainment of a simplified process of sexual reproduction for a complicated genetically oriented mechanisms for sex cells, reproduction and procreation is stunningly marvelous. The orientation of reproductive strategies towards social, environmental, and futuristic motives is highly precise and purposeful. Thus, all the functioning of a living system are highly complex mechanisms with a simple outlook. In the forthcoming chapter, an attempt has been made to highlight defects in functioning, remedial attempts, and lifestyle modification. Proper treatment of such result in voluminous work. Yet, a simple attempt has been made to provide the information. While going through the pages of this chapter, the learners may recollect the human anatomy learned in the previous chapters. Knowledge and remembrance of anatomy will simplify an understanding of physiological processes. Nutrition. The survival of all living organisms is due to several types of nutritive processes. The process of nutrition involves ingestion, digestion, absorption, and assimilation of food materials. The composition of nutrients vary in different types of feeding. However, for all living organisms, the nutrient comprises the following organic and inorganic components. They are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamins, minerals, and water. Each component has a specific functional role. A well proportioned intake of nutrients depends on several factors such as stage of growth, sex, health condition, bodily activities, and environmental situations. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrate is composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in ratio of 1 ratio 2 ratio 1 CH2O. And they are of three types, namely monosaccharide, disaccharide, and polysaccharide. Monosaccharides. Monosaccharide. These are the simplest form of carbohydrates. being comprised of single organic molecule. Depending on the number of carbon atoms, they are classified into trioses, tetroses, pentoses, and hexoses. The trioses CH3, H6, O3 are common intermediary products of carbohydrates metabolic processes. They play an important role in interconversion of biomolecules. For example, glyceraldehydes, pentoses, C5, H10, O5, like ribose and deoxyribose are the integral components of RNA and DNA molecules. The exhausted C6H12O6 such as glucose, fructose, and galactose are food components commonly consumed. Carbohydrates are commonly employed by the cells for providing energy. The energy metabolism happens through glycolytic processes involving oxidative citric acid cycle. The energy liberated is stored in the form of ATPs, adenosine triphosphate. Each gram of carbohydrate is capable of yielding energy equivalent of 4.1 calories. Disaccharides. These are the carbohydrates formed by condensation of two monosaccharide monomers. These are found in common food substances such as milk and sugar. There are three common disaccharides, namely maltose, sucrose, and lactose. They have the following composition: maltose, glucose plus glucose; saccharose, cane sugar, glucose plus fructose; lactose, milk, glucose plus galactose. Polysaccharides. These are complex carbohydrates formed by polymerization of a large number of monosaccharides. Nature abundantly produces various types of polysaccharides. Several of them are structural components in the living world. For example, chitin, cellulose, starch molecules serve as storage food material, trapping enormous amount of energy. In food grains, starch is available as pectin and amylopectin molecules. Glycogen, a polysaccharide, is found in liver and muscles. Proteins. Proteins are nitrogenous compounds being made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Proteins also contain sulfur, and living systems proteins play an important role in the structural organization. For example, cell membrane, hair, nails, and muscles. Many of the proteins serve as enzymes. They are named as functional proteins. Blocks of proteins are amino acids. There are approximately 20 different types of amino acids such as glycine, alanine, serine, valine, leucine, proline, etc. The amino acids are classified as essential and non-essential amino acids. Essential amino acids cannot be synthesized in our body. Hence, they should be made available through food. The essential amino acids are arginine, valine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, and tryptophan. The non-essential amino acid can be synthesized in our body from other compounds such as amino acid need not be added in the diet. A protein or a polypeptide chain is formed of several amino acids linked with each other by peptide bonds. Thus, linear arrangement is termed as primary organization of a protein. However, in most of the proteins, the straight chain structure gets complicated into secondary, tertiary, and quaternary stages. These levels are due to several other chemical bonds. The complicated nature of a particular protein is specifically required for its prescribed function. The amino acid sequence and level of organization is determined genetically. Hence, the genome gets its importance due to its capability to produce specific types of protein for bringing out genetical characteristics. The daily requirements of protein according to nutrition experts Committee of ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and WHO World Health Organization is 1 gram per kg body weight product. Reduction in the intake of protein leads to protein malnutrition, such as marasmus and Kwashiorkor disease. In marasmus, the child loses weight and it also causes severe diarrhea. And the body muscles get wasted as well appear as through the bones are covered by the skin. In Kwashiorkor, there is a wastage of muscles, face, and feet will have edema. The belly region will appear enlarged. Lipids. Lipids are the important cellular constituents. They are energy-rich compounds. They form the most important storage food in the body. In our body, it serves as an insulating material. Cosmetically, the presence of limited amount of fat beneath the skin adds to beauty. Further, steroidal hormones are produced from certain lipids. The most common type of lipids are the simple lipids, triglycerides. They are naturally occurring substances, vegetable oils, in constituents of adipose tissues. Chemically, triglyceride is formed of glycerol and fatty acids. Fatty acids are of two types, namely saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. The unsaturated fatty acids are capable of easier oxidative breakdown. Hence, polyunsaturated fatty acids are favored for persons having high blood pressure and other related ailments. These fatty acids are abundant in sunflower oil and safflower oil. Each gram of lipid is capable of yielding 9.3 calories of energy. It is suggested that 25% to 30% of total calories should come from fat.